What happens if you let AI control your entire day? I decided to hand over complete authority of my life to a large language model for 24 hours to find out. The average adult makes about 35,000 remotely conscious decisions every single day. This creates a constant mental tax known as decision fatigue, where the quality of your choices degrades simply from the sheer volume of options. Outsourcing that cognitive load to a machine seems, in theory, like a way to reclaim lost mental bandwidth. Here is the first rule of the experiment. This animated diagram shows the rigid 24-hour schedule the AI generated. It controls every overarching block, from the second my alarm goes off to lights out. Rule 2. Inside those blocks, the AI prioritizes individual tasks, mandating exactly when I take a break. I expected this to result in a day of frictionless execution, but letting cold logic dictate human behavior led to something far more jarring. Automating daily routines test whether an algorithm can actually comprehend the physical limits of human endurance. My normal biological clock usually wakes me up around 7:30 a.m. The AI, calculating for maximum daylight efficiency, set my alarm for 4:45 a.m. This infographic contrasts a standard human macronutrient ratio with the meal the AI selected for me. Instead of coffee and toast, the algorithm calculated a specific nutritional breakdown using raw spinach, whey protein, and chia seeds to maximize sustained energy release. Immediately after breakfast, the prompt mandated a highly specific morning workout. It avoided a normal jog in favor of an alternating routine of isometric holds and high-intensity interval sprints, which the algorithm claimed would maximize cardiovascular shock in a 15-minute window. Trying to match a machine's rigid pacing while my brain was still half asleep was physically draining. The algorithm demanded immediate maximum output at 5 a.m., and my body struggled to bridge the gap between sleep and high-intensity exertion. The AI successfully eliminated morning procrastination. However, it treated my nervous system like a light switch instead of a combustion engine that needs time to reach operating temperature. By 7 a.m., the algorithm pushed me straight into the deep work phase of the day. It applied a ruthlessly logical approach to my to-do list, forcing the single most complex, cognitively demanding project to the very top and refusing to let me clear out easy emails first. This line graph maps my focus level over time. The AI enforced an aggressive variation of the Pomodoro technique, a time management method that alternates focused work sessions with short breaks. You can see these deep, jagged spikes of intense work, abruptly flatlining at mandated zero-stimulus intervals. Looking at the data, the volume of completed tasks exceeded my standard unassisted human average. The rigid structure forced me to remain at my desk during periods where I would normally have wandered off for coffee. But the rigidity had a cost. Right as I was finally resolving the logic of a complex coding problem, the timer hit 0. The AI forced a hard halt, mandating a 10-minute meditation break right in the middle of a sentence. My output metrics were at their highest point of the month, but at that exact moment, the algorithm's logic began to deviate from productivity. Algorithms excel at brute-forcing raw output metrics. However, they fail to recognize when a human is in a state of creative flow, a state that doesn't always adhere to a timer. At 2:14 p.m., the AI schedule shifted away from the desk to mandate a leisure task that felt entirely out of place. The prompt explicitly instructed me to leave all my devices on my desk, walk into a public park, and strike up a conversation with a complete stranger about the migration patterns of local birds. I felt intense psychological resistance. Complying with this instruction felt irrational and disconnected from the goals I had spent the morning working toward. I forced myself to do it. I approached a person feeding ducks, and it turned into a 30-minute conversation about local wildlife. We even ended up laughing about how territorial the geese had become this year. The mathematical randomness of the AI forced a moment of spontaneity that I typically omit from my own self-planned schedule in favor of efficiency. When the clock finally struck the end of the 24-hour cycle, I felt a level of physical and mental exhaustion I haven't experienced in years. This radar chart breaks down the final results. You can see the high spikes in task completion and time efficiency. But those are contrasted by these depleted scores in mental energy and autonomy. Does an AI make a better manager than human intuition? Based on this 24-hour trial, it is highly effective at maximizing raw output, but its lack of nuance means it ignores the human need for a ramp-up period or the value of staying in a flow state. Would you try this? Could you surrender every single decision of your day to a machine? To continue exploring the strange edge cases of technology and modern productivity, subscribe to JobCast Daily. We test these experiments so you don't have to.